All right, let's talk about the weather around our area here. As I am with meteorologist Brandon Lawson in the Pinpoint Weather Center. We've got some clouds, some storms that were earlier tonight, but it's also peak meteor shower night tonight. So I don't know if anybody is going to get to see them, are they?
Yeah, I know it's going to be kind of hard. We've got some fog that's going to be developing tonight, maybe some low clouds sticking around. The good news is these meteor showers, they will be visible through mid-August. They're just peaking tonight simultaneously, and I mean, folks really want to see that because
get a clear sky, go check it out.
Yeah, and they're like shooting at each other too, so it could be a really nice viewing. So this is a live look over Gastonia. Not too bad there, but again, we are going to have some clouds kind of that linger and even that fog developing as we go into the overnight hours that might make visibility a little bit harder for these meteor showers that we're going to be tracking as we go into the overnight hours. We're talking about the Alpha Capricornids and also the Southern Delta Aquariids. This is kind of a mouthful there. These will be peaking simultaneously tonight. It's visible through mid-August, but again, the peaking happens tonight. The Alpha Capricornids, 1 a.m. That's where you'd want to view those, looking at about 3 to 5 meteors per hour. These will be very bright, and it'll be like kind of a fireball in the sky with those. So that'll be kind of an interesting one to watch. And then the Southern Delta Aquariids, 3 a.m. So when you can start to really get a good view of those, 10 to 15 meters per hour with that. Not going to be quite as bright, but you'll be able to see them. You want to look south with this, about halfway up in the sky, and then you also want to be away from light pollution. You don't want to have a lot of light around you, so if you can get into a dark area and look south about halfway up, that should give you a really good view for those. Looking at visibility right now, not seeing a lot of fog at this time, but areas like Sherall, Rockingham, already seeing the visibility come down to about 5 miles there in Sherall and then 7 miles in Rockingham. We aren't tracking much on radar. Storms were really developing across the foothills last time we chatted about 6:30 or so. The storms continue through the evening, but things are starting to fade away there, so it's going to be a drier night. It was another day with this heat dome in place. We had more heat advisories in effect for the Piedmont and Sandhills, but we weren't alone in that. I mean, take a look at all the heat alerts that were in effect across the eastern U.S. today. That dome of heat's going to be breaking down through the week, and we're going to replace it with this wedge setup. So we'll get cold air damming in place for the weekend. If you've heard that word around the Carolinas, that is a cold wedge setup, cool air crashing up against the mountains, and that cool air can't go over the mountains, so it just kind of gets stuck there and it sinks over the Carolinas, and that allows cooler air to really funnel in. But this stalled boundary is going to keep clouds and showers around. So unfortunately, we aren't necessarily going to be drying things out this weekend, but we are going to be cooling things down, which will be much needed across the area. Still 80 in Charlotte, 75 in Gastonia, 76 in Lincoln tonight. Boone right now at 66. We're at 75 in Sherall. Temperatures are going to be dropping back towards the low to mid 70s. If you're already in the mid 70s, you aren't going to drop much more tonight. Looking at those mid to upper 60s for the mountains tomorrow morning. We'll start in the 70s for most, getting into the low to mid 90s. I'm expecting highs around 93 degrees again tomorrow, but we are going to have some storms to track again tomorrow. So tomorrow morning, it's a dry start, but a lot of patchy fog around. And then by noon tomorrow, more showers and storms developing, and these will be more torrential downpours and potentially the concern for maybe some locally gusty winds as well. We'll dry things out by Thursday morning, and then Thursday afternoon, more showers and storms developing. I actually think the coverage for Thursday storms will be a little bit higher as that cold front crosses the area. That cold front's going to kind of stall out over the region over Friday. So I do think Friday we could have that concern for maybe a little bit more of a flash flood threat as storms move over the same areas over and over again. We're in the 90s through Thursday, upper 80s for Friday, but then by the weekend it's much cooler, Brian. Upper 70s, low 80s. We'll keep those clouds and showers around, but at least we got cooler air with it.
Queen City News Plus. Just search Queen City News on your smart TV's app store.